Welcome back to Hypertrophy Academy. I'm Declan, and you've clicked on this video because you want to learn how to become an online coach. I have been coaching now for over 5 years, and I've built a full-time job, business, company, whatever, out of doing said work, doing online coaching. And I get questions all the time on Instagram about what I did, what I would do differently, and I figured, why not make a 10-minute video going over what I did and what I think you should do if you want to become an online coach, whether it's powerlifting, bodybuilding, weight loss, whatever. You can probably provide some value to some people, and maybe you're passionate about this, and so it seems like a good career fit, and I would agree. If you are passionate, if you're not passionate about fitness and the idea of making lots of money is appealing to you, go somewhere else. We already have enough unpassionate people doing fitness coaching for the money. Yes, you can make very good money. But if you're in it for that reason, we don't want you. We don't want you in the industry. Go somewhere else. Go be an unpassionate accountant or lawyer, because there is enough of that bullshit in fitness and we don't need more of it. But if you love it, and you probably do because you're watching this video and you're on my page, we can make something out of that, which is awesome. And that's what I did. And I'm going to help you, right? Now, this is not going to be one big ad for my coaching academy. Obviously, it exists. You can go check it out. But I'm going to start with what most coaches get told when they get into fitness. They get told you only need a laptop, a phone, and some free applications. And that's true. You only need your iPhone, some sort of computer to look at Google Sheets, which is how I still do my programs 5 years later on Google Sheets, and then CapCut and Instagram and TikTok. And those things are free. So realistically, to be an online coach, you just need to get a phone and a laptop. If you're watching this, you probably have those things and you can start coaching. And that's what I did for years. And you pay for things here and there like, CapCut Premium or Premiere Pro or, little bits and pieces, audio plugins, filters, etc. But for the most part, it's free. And I don't know, 5 or 6x my income before I bought anything, right? Now I have the luxury of buying pretty much whatever I think is going to help my business, and I do that. But up until 6 months ago, I very much lived well under what I was getting paid. And that's because you just don't need to spend that much money to be an online coach. Now I have the backdrop and the lights and the camera and the mic and all that cool stuff, and the camera stands on the desk and whatever. And that's awesome. And it makes my life easier, but you don't need that stuff. And that's not how I got to this point. I have this stuff now. If you're trying to emulate what someone is doing, you don't look at what they're doing currently, you look at what they did to get there. So for you guys to maybe be inspired by what I'm doing, hopefully, you see the light and everything in the backdrop. Oh, I have to have all that stuff. No, you don't. You don't have to have all that stuff. You just need the basics and you build it up from there. So if you have a phone, a laptop, you meet the criteria, awesome. If you don't have those things, maybe you should watch something else. I don't know. Maybe we need to save up for a bit, get a good phone or a laptop. I'm not sure what your situation is. Hopefully all of you have a phone and a laptop. I use my school laptop during uni, and then I use it to start coaching, right? So once we have the basics down, we have the laptop, the phone, we can write programs, record videos. You're going to get your first clients, probably online coaching, from making content. But you're new. So what do you make content about? Well, before we jump into making content, we learn. If you've never coached anybody, quite frankly, you don't have the right to make educational videos. So you have two options. You wait, you learn first, and then you make content, or you make entertainment videos, day in the life stuff, here's my workout, just videos that don't require much knowledge, and that might get you a bit of a following. For example, these influencer guys, not me, I don't classify myself as that, but these guys who blow up from their physiques. For example, if you have a sick physique, You don't know how to coach anybody else, but you have a great physique. There's your entry point. If you're completely new, which you probably are if you're watching this video, you don't know anything yet because you haven't coached anybody. Maybe you have a bit of knowledge from getting yourself to a certain point, and I'd hope so. But you need to learn first. Before we get too heavy into content, we need to learn something to make content about. So as I said, maybe you start by just making entertainment content, posting some lifting videos, whatever. Get your Instagram rolling. Before you go too heavy on the education, actually learn. Coach somebody. That might be tricky if you say, Declan, I don't have any clients. How can I get clients to learn to then be able to post stuff? Well, coach your friends for free. Get yourself into a respectable position. At least do it with yourself first. Get a good physique. Get strong. Then help your friends do it for free. Then use that knowledge to maybe make some educational stuff or post their results or whatever. But all the while, we need to be investing as much as we possibly can into education. So, very likely situation is you are early 20s, you probably have a job already, just a casual job. Pay your bills and spend everything else on education. No more buying takeaway, no more partying on the weekend, buying V-Bucks. I don't know what 20-year-olds spend their money on. Invest in education. Doesn't have to be mine, can be hypertrophy coach, biomechanics course. You could jump on Chris Beardsley's Patreon. You could mentor with any number of amazing coaches. You could go through RTS. You could go through J3. There are plenty of good training resources out there from experienced coaches. Whoever you go with, just do it. Don't worry about, what's the absolute best course that I can get everything from? It doesn't exist. There are no courses that have nutrition, biomechanics, physiology, everything. They don't exist because it would be too good a product and it would be too expensive for your current situation. So just get as much as you possibly can. Learn from a lot of people, do nutrition over here, then do it over here, do biomechanics, then physiology, mix it up, different sources as much as you possibly can. You could spend all your pocket money on education for 6 months while you live at home, while you're at school, whatever, and you would be so much better off than just, I'll get like one course a year or every second year because I don't want to spend too much money. The one thing that you cannot lose is skills. So in the early days, get the ball rolling on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Post some entertainment stuff. Post your lifting. In the background, learn as much as you possibly can. Invest as much as you possibly can into education. If you're sitting there going, I can't afford education, okay. You can join Jake Dolashell's education group for $10 USD a week. You can join Chris Beardsley's Patreon for, I don't know, about the same. That doesn't cost anything. There's lots of very cheap education. You can join Evan Holmes' training group or Ryan Dewars. You can learn from people for like $1 a day. There are a lot of great sources out there. It doesn't have to be an expensive course. It could be YouTube. The YouTube channel you're on right now has a lot of free education on it, right? So get as much education as you can. If it means spending $1 a day on training groups, join multiple. Join Paul Carter's, join Jake's, join Ryan, Evans, JPG, join everybody's training group. It's $1 a day. It's so cheap. Then join all the cheap education you can. And once you've done that, buy the big education. You know, maybe you get my course. Maybe you do Joe Bennett's biomechanics. Maybe you do whatever else. Bottom line, do as much as you possibly can. Reach out to coaches. Ask to mentor with them. Ask them if they need an assistant coach. Maybe they are desperately in need of an assistant coach because their business is growing and they want to hire you and teach you. You get paid. They get their work handled for them. It's a win-win. So there are a lot of ways that you can go about learning. Whether it's free, whether it's paid, you need to do it. You need to earn the right to actually coach someone and post about it. Another way of learning, which is so valuable, so valuable, is gym floor PT. Go to your local gym, see if they're hiring. Become a PT. Even if you only sign a 6-month contract, you will learn. The gym will probably feed you clients. You will have to learn a bit of sales. You'll have to learn some basic business stuff, which is really, really useful. And you'll also be put into a situation where you have to work with someone who has lower back pain, who only has 30 minutes to train 3 times a week. You'll work with some amazing populations on the gym floor. And I think that a lot of people want to get into online coaching and they haven't done the hard yards yet. I was a gym floor PT for 9 months. I've coached in person for longer than that, just like independently. And it's such a valuable skill. If you can work with someone in person, you can work with them online. It's way harder in person. Throw yourself in the deep end. Now, I realize there might be some time constraints, maybe location restraints, etc. But if you're really serious about this, you'll find a way. What I was doing was living at home during school, coaching on the gym floor, posting on Instagram, coaching online, and getting my degree all at the same time. And it wasn't that hard, right? It sounds hard. It wasn't that hard. But that combination of things allowed me to, once I graduated, grow a huge business, right? So gym floor PT is another awesome way to do it. If you're lucky, you'll get mentored by the other PTs at the gym or the gym owner, and you'll get some experience. I truly believe that working on the gym floor is an invaluable skill that online coaches need. Not should have, not this, that. You need to learn how to coach someone in person if you want to run a very successful coaching business. It's an entirely different skill. And you get paid for it, which is cool because the gym will want to give you clients. So you will literally get paid to get smarter. It's a hack, especially if you're in Australia. You go to a gym like Anytime World, they will want to give you leads. You'll have to make sales and you'll have to coach people. And I think that is just such an amazing way to learn. So far, we're going to get our Instagram rolling, posting whatever we can. We're going to coach our friends for free. We're going to join everyone's training group. Join whatever education groups you can. We're going to learn from YouTube. Go on my YouTube. Read through all the programming. Watch through all the programming videos. Read through all my responses in the comments. Take notes. You're going to consume as much content online as you can. When you see something valuable, save it to a folder on Instagram, training education, take notes on your computer. Whatever you do, try to make the most of it. As I said, ask coaches for mentoring. That stuff is super, super important. Now, once you get the ball rolling, you have a few clients. Your highest leverage activity is posting content. You need to develop some sort of online presence, right? Because why would anyone coach with you if nobody knows who you are and there are heaps of guys like me who they could coach with? And I'm not being a dick. I'm just saying, ask yourself, why would someone coach with you? You need to give them a reason. So your highest leverage activity outside of coaching obviously will be making content. And when you're building a coaching business, you have a lot of time because you don't have a lot of business. With that time, as I said, your highest leverage activity will be making videos and posting content. Not only is this free marketing, free advertising, but you build up a library of videos that people can refer to and see if they want to coach with you. You also reach new people. And in the process of making these videos, you will learn things. You will learn how to explain things better, which you can use with your clients. You will teach yourself things by realizing what you don't know when you try to explain something. And all at the same time, you will learn how to edit, which is a very, very valuable skill if you want to be an online coach or whatever. So, content should always be in the top 3 of priorities. Outside of coaching, training, learning, etc., posting is up there. It's very, very important. Again, when you have the time, because you don't have a lot of business, I think that 5 videos a week is your bare minimum. Obviously, start out 2, 3, build up to it. But if you have time, you have enough clients to survive, and you're not posting more than 3 times a week, you don't care enough. That's the truth. You just don't care enough. Because if you did, you'd make the time, provided you can pay the bills and whatnot. You need to be posting more often. Maybe you work 3 days at a local job, cash register, doing whatever at McDonald's, who cares? Another 2 days at the gym, on the PT floor, coaching people online, and you spend the rest of your time doing online coaching, building up your online business. Whatever you need to do to make it work, if you're passionate, you will find a way. When we start posting, a lot of people will niche down too early. When you start out, you need to work with whoever will give you their time, their money, and their trust. Because realistically, again, we are in need of these clients to learn, to build up our foundation, to get more clients and grow the business. We need to start somewhere. So a lot of guys will niche down too early. They'll do things like, are you a busy professional who only has 45 minutes a day to train? And that's their whole thing. And then you narrow down and you skip out on the 23-year-old who just wants to grow some muscle, or the 18-year-old who's a bit overweight and knows they need to get into shape, or the 40-year-old mum who doesn't know anything about training and just wants to be healthy. So niching down too early is a bad move, in my opinion. I know that these business coaches will give that advice, get your avatar, niche down super hard, whatnot. I just don't think it's a good idea. So basically, just give out general tips: how to build muscle, how to get stronger, how to lose fat, the fundamental things that everyone wants to do realistically. If you ask someone, do you want to lose fat, get stronger, and gain muscle? 9 times out of 10, they're all going to say it. They're all going to say yes. Maybe some people don't want to grow muscle, women who are already bulky enough, But basically, those 3 key things apply to literally everyone, and it doesn't have to be more specific than that. Now, eventually, you will want to niche down. A lot of guys try to niche down into the science-based space. Those guys, that target audience, they already think they know everything. They probably don't want to coach because they are already geniuses. So yeah, just a word of advice. If you're an established coach and you're thinking about maybe getting more science-based, I'd think, again, the space is pretty established and the people in it think they're geniuses. So maybe you sort of use some principles from that side of fitness, but you market more towards the average person or athletes or busy, whatever, eventually. I think niching down into the science-based TikTok thing is a bit, it's already been done, right? So when you niche down, obviously you need to have a good idea of the sort of character you want to work with. I have it written down on my computer, for example, on my home screen. So every time I make a video, I know which language to use for my target audience. So for example, my target audience, my ideal client is someone who's 20 to 30, already knows how to train, loves learning, is passionate, and wants to take their training to the next level. And that's the sort of person that we work with. But we've earned that. Like I said at first, you just need to work with whoever will work with you. And niching down too early or into the wrong space is a bad move. So earn the niche. Work with whoever, get some results. When you've earned it, when you have some business, you have some proof, then niche down. You can make your videos or your ads more targeted to said client. And when you do get the ball rolling, just remember, social media views mean fuck all. They really do. Views, followers, they're vanity metrics. The videos that flop are the ones that build your trust. The ones that build trust build an audience. That builds income. So it's nice to have videos go viral. That's great. But it doesn't really mean anything in terms of business. I know because I've had videos get 150, 200,000 views, 10,000 likes. And that night, no coaching application. Crazy, right? And then I'll have a period of time where I don't really post anything for a couple of days and I get heaps of applications. Views and that don't mean much. Reply to DMs, reply to comments, help whoever you can, go the extra mile for your audience. They will give back. And that is because they feel it's necessary. They've benefited from your content, and so they want to give back. We have this innate human nature that controls the decisions we make. And part of that is I feel the need to give this person my money and my thanks because they've given me so much for free. That's just how people work. So I've over the years asked a lot of my clients, oh, what made you sign up? Oh, well, you had some good transformations and whatever, but I just love your content. Everyone says, I just love your content. Great. So I know that I'm buying their trust with content. So focus on providing value. Don't worry too much about views. Views and followers, great. They increase. Awesome. It's a good metric, but it's not everything. In terms of the videos you post, once you've got the ball rolling, post some client transformations, post some talking heads, do some green screens, do some voiceovers, maybe do some fancy editing, see what works for your audience, see what they engage with, and just do what you enjoy. I'm at the point now where I just do what I enjoy. I hired an editor. I bought all this cool stuff so that I could do things that I enjoyed, like make these videos. And it's sustainable because I love it. Because I can sit here, the mic's ready to go, the camera's ready to go. I invested in the things that make my life easier. I make videos that I enjoy. And I'm super, super grateful for that. But I've earned this. And so one of the things now is what is sustainable. And this just goes back to that point about doing what you enjoy, and then goes back to the original point at the start about being passionate. If you're passionate about this and you find a way of doing this job that you can sustain because you enjoy it, you will be unbeatable. Now, what I'm doing to stay unbeatable, to continue growing my business, is doing things that I enjoy, making sure I don't put myself in a position that compromises my passion for fitness. So not pushing myself too hard that I don't want to work out, that I'm not motivated to give as much for clients. I never put myself in that position. So to keep going, to make sure I can put out videos, give the best client results, give the best client feedback, etc., is I just do things that I enjoy and that are sustainable. And that is one of the many benefits of doing this job, is that you have the right to do what you want. I do my own schedule. I do what I want when I want, and that's something that I've earned. But I did all this other stuff first to get here. And I'm not getting complacent. I still have a very, very long way to go. I still pay for education. I still mentor with people. I still have 2 coaches and multiple mentors. And I'm doing a course every chance I get. And I don't want this to come across like I know everything, or that I'm at the top and I'm just like, here's how I did it. That's not the case at all. I still get, I still have big Dunning-Kruger moments all the time. If you're not having them, you're not in the right rooms. But yeah, once you get the ball rolling, just find a way of doing this that you enjoy. What content do you enjoy? Which people do you like working with? When do you like working? Because you can set your own hours. Find a routine, find a rhythm, and just do things that are sustainable. So I know I sort of ranted a bit during this video. I don't know if that's going to be helpful for anybody. I just wanted to give a quick rant because there have been a lot of people blow up recently, and I just see them go about it the wrong way. And even new coaches, like I saw a video the other day of a guy with like 200 followers, and it was like, just remember, if you ever do 3 sets of an exercise, you're an idiot. And I was like, I commented, and I must have been in a good mood because I commented, this is not the way to get where you want to go. Because in his bio, he had like hypertrophy coach, whatever, all this stuff. And I just said, this is not the way to get where you want to go. I know what you're doing. I understand the message you're trying to send, but this is not the way to go about it. And a little anecdote, recently I've sort of been a bit more open-minded, a bit more nuanced and practical, and a little bit less absolute, because we can all tend to make absolute statements because we want views, whatever. And people really appreciate it. I've never had more support than recently when I started being more nuanced, more practical, and making less bold statements. And yes, it is worse for engagement. My monthly views are down, but my business is up and the support is up. So you got to remember, as I said before, views don't mean shit. hopefully that was helpful for you guys. There was a few notes there that I touched on. Maybe some valuable gems in there for you guys who are just getting into coaching or having coaching for a little while. Please leave a comment and ask me questions. If you have them, I don't want anyone to think that they, won't get a response, because I check my YouTube comments all the time and I'm way more likely to respond on YouTube than I am on Instagram. So please ask questions. Go ahead if you want to. Otherwise, I hope that was useful. I hope it wasn't just rambles. If you like this content and you want more specific content about being a coach, maybe I can show you my workstation. I don't know. Who knows? Let me know if you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one.